Crosswalk lights tell pedestrians whether or not streets are safe to proceed by signaling when to halt their passageway. In a similar manner, the cell cycle uses tumor suppressor genes like the TP53 gene to monitor and control when cell growth is safe to proceed. The p53 protein contains 4 chains that each have a DNA binding domain with a tetramerization domain at the center that ties the chains together. Under conditions where there is no cell damage, the MDM2 regulator protein is bound to the p53 activation domain, preventing it from being activated. However, when cellular stresses cause DNA damage like nucleotide depletion, cellular senses detect it and cause increased transcription of the TP53 gene. The p53 protein triggers cell cycle inhibitors, one of them being the p21 protein. p53 upregulates the expression of p21 by serving as a transcription factor to the p21 gene by binding to an oligonucleotide derived from the p53 binding site of the p21 promoter to transactivate it. The p21 gene produces a cyclin-dependent kinase inhibitor, p21. With increased production of the p21 protein, its buildup can successfully arrest cell cycle progression at the G1 phase as the protein binds and dephosphorylates or inhibits the CDK2 cycling complex, which normally phosphorylates and activates other proteins for cell cycle progression. This cell cycle arrest gives the cell enough time to repair DNA damage. Or if the damage is not repairable, the p21 protein can prompt apoptosis. If one day the crosswalk lights on the busy streets of New York City were unable to go red and instead continuously displayed the green light, it would prompt pedestrians to cross the streets in unsafe conditions. This occurs in the cell cycle when there are mutations in the TP53 gene. Mutations in the TP53 gene mean that there's not enough functioning p53 protein to activate the p21 gene. With the underexpression of p53's tumor suppressing abilities and the p21's regulation, the cells will continue to divide uncontrollably, leading to cancer. More than 70% of cancer patients have defective TP53 genes. Although such mutations are not entirely preventable, avoiding UV exposure, radiation, and chemical carcinogens can reduce your likelihood of developing TP53 mutations, and in the long run, your chances of developing preventable cancers. Be sure to get regular medical screenings and genetic testing done, especially if your family has a history of cancer. With early awareness and a healthy lifestyle, you can make sure your body's crosswalk light never forgets to hit red.